Let's see if I'm trying to make sure everything's lined up. Make sure you guys can see everything okay. It's not actually what I have in my. Still learning how to use the. Hey, can you hear everything okay? Can you see everything okay? I'm still trying to figure out how to get my preview to match on my on OSB. I have a different on OSB. You should be able to see. I have like something set up over here, like a picture of Exploder. I can't get it to go. I don't know how to get it to do it like I want it. I'm not gonna mess with that, I guess, too much. Hope you guys could find me. It wasn't gonna. It wasn't letting me stream on the one that I already had set up. I'm still learning how to use this. I apologize. Hopefully, these kinds of things won't happen too much more. So let's wait and see if some other people can find it. I don't know why this is not working over here. It seems like it should be. The image should be showing up. I don't know. Do you use the OSB at all? Because OSB is I'm still figuring out how to use it, basically. See if anyone else shows up here. The other one I had to abandon, so I don't know what this looks like on YouTube. I'm going to check on my phone and see if I can even see anything. Still figuring out. See if anyone else shows up here. The other one I had to abandon, so. Okay. So it looks like it's doing alright, I suppose. So let's get to it. Move this crap out of the way. This is the Exploder from last week. Sorry, his little picture should be showing up down here in the corner. I don't know what the hell is going on. So this is as far as we got last time. Yeah, there's some shit that I noticed. Some stuff I noticed. We could probably move this. I think today we can try some different heads. We can wait and see if some more people want to get in here as well. If you don't mind just waiting for a couple minutes, see if some more people show up. I see that it looks pretty good on YouTube. It's not exactly the video that I wanted. I don't know, dude. I'm still trying to figure this out. So, thanks for showing up, bro. Wait, were you getting tattooed earlier, Junker? So I think I thought you were at the sale for a little while, but then you left, or are you? I don't know what you're doing. I think you're getting tattooed. I saw Jeffrey Epstein hung himself or killed himself in jail. There was a picture online of the perpetrator. It was very disturbing, horrifying, disturbing and horrifying. horrifyingly disturbing. They look like this. You see that? My phone's dirty as shit. This is from Joe Rogan. Follow that guy on Instagram. That looks suspiciously like Kill Billington crossover. I recognize that mustache anywhere. Alright, so I guess we're going to start doing this. So this is what we did last time. I don't think that that's probably the best head we could ever do. I think we could do better. I don't know what it is about that head. It's making me crazy. So I think... Of course there's a bug right there. Let's kind of look at this other one. I kept seeing one like... I want to do something more with like the jaw. Because of the power of Photoshop. Like that, yeah, that guy got Epstein bad. He already tried to kill himself once, and then I guess now he finally did it. But, you know, don't rape little girls, I guess. So I thought it might be cool if this, make my guy even more crazy looking. So I had like 3 kind of different head ideas. This is one. One is like the bottom jaw, like totally sticking out like crazy. With kind of like the idea that he's got these weird, kind of like chrome teeth going on. Something really, you know, something more cartoony, I think, might be cool. I don't usually have an eraser. I just don't. I don't know why. So you can figure it out. You can sketch it out. You can sketch through it for the most part, I think. So this hopefully gives you guys a... You can see where he's kind of like... Yeah, I don't know if that works. Alright, let's try it again. Same idea. Same idea, but I think... You know, the teeth have to be smashed together more. I didn't seem to be helping to have that space there. So it's got to be something more like this, I think. Yeah, glad you found me. I was having, I couldn't get it to stream on the event that I had set up for tonight. It made me start another event. I don't know how to avoid that, but that was through... I don't know if that was a problem with OBS or that's a problem with YouTube. I'm still learning to use like the OBS and everything. So I don't know. I apologize. Hopefully some other people will get in here. I appreciate you guys showing up. I know it's late for you know. Just depends where you are, I guess. But I don't like that one either. It should be a 3/4 view, I think. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm all over the place with this guy. So I was thinking that the exploder head could be different, and try to like rough out some new ones. So you can see the old head right here. It's I don't know, it's interesting. Maybe not that as interesting as it could be. And something about like having a guy with like a really you know strained out, like crazy veiny neck, kind of like Battle of the North Star, or whatever that Japanimation with all the squirting veins is. Can ever remember? Texas is always right on time. You should know that. So we were talking earlier about that guy getting Epstein pretty hard in prison today, or was that yesterday? And I was showing this picture earlier, like on Joe Rogan's page, of Hillary Clinton wearing a mustache. It's like Epstein's last visitor, whatever that guy's name is, that piece of garbage. That's dead now. So there you go. I don't know. I'm thinking more like, I don't know. These heads are pissing me off right now. All right, let's try it again. I'm not getting what I want. It's. I can see it in my head. It's a 3/4, and it's like more distorted and more cartoony than even what I already drew. I think maybe it's because we should see the top of his head. Maybe that's it. So he's looking like this more. If we make some of our guidelines here, kind of a more pronounced crazy jaw, and then hopefully these teeth, and then his other teeth here. So a little more like this, I think. So this would be the cyber jaw. And when they put it on me, I can't remember exactly, but they had kind of drawn these little circuit boards underneath the prosthetic. Just with regular makeup, because then they put the it was kind of like silicone, like a milky looking silicone. And then when it got up here to my jaw, there was like, the demarcation, and then there was a little bit of a prosthetic here that was like skin color, to make it look like it was going into my face more. So, I mean, it'd be better if I probably would sketch all this out. You see the pros with the weird blue pencil doing stuff. Everyone just does stuff different. So, I mean, I just smash through it with a regular pencil, and if it looks like crap, I just like throw it out and start over again. I don't know how to really share whatever link this is to be live. Hopefully people are not lost on here. And hopefully you can see this head alright. Maybe not. Wait, let's split the difference there. I think this is here, this is there. Just trying to make this stuff just look more cartoony and more crazy than the other one. Yeah, if you can link this one, I don't know what I did. I don't know how to start that other one. It kept on telling me I couldn't live stream through the other event that I had set up. It fucking messed me up. So hopefully people can get in here. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys can share this link, I guess I could try and do it right now too. At least on my page. Let me see if I can do this. So live, I can see me live. Can I share this? Live, yeah. So share. I'm gonna share it too. Thanks you guys for being patient. All right, so I'm just sharing it to Facebook. Mini flux command. What? What the what? Yeah, he needs some whisker power, some electro whiskers inserted into his face meat there. Try and get this thing going. But you know what I'm saying. Okay, so let me go to Junker. We're just trying to reshare this to hopefully get some people interested. Because this other thing is, I don't know what happened. And like I said, I'm still trying to use the OBS. If you guys are in Texas, does that who else is using OBS? Because that thing is like complicated as shit to me. I know I'll figure it out sooner or later. But right now it's like it's making me crazy. Why? Because I don't practice enough. So that could be it. And then let me share to Instagram. Thanks again for being patient. Just trying to get this over on Instagram. My story. Let's do this. And we'll cut and paste. When you guys see a link in the in Instagram, can you even follow it? Like I've never tried. I don't know how to link directly into there. Yeah, I wish I had some support. There's a guy Eric I know in LA that knows pretty much everything except for not this. He's more like everything computer related. So here's the other idea, and then so this looking like a lot more crazy. And we took it, taking some artistic license with this, of course. The ear, I guess we could draw the ear. So the ear detail that you couldn't see in the movie is I have like these, they put in these crazy big earlobes, and there's these like stones, these weird stones in them. So that was happening. So it could look kind of like that. They were like, look like turquoise, kind of, I think was the idea. So here's me, Mr. Exploder. Kind of do this, kind of a crazy mouth. Moving this down a little bit more. Hope this is all right. Once again, I can't figure out why it's not letting me show you the little See, if you use OBS, there's a preview and there's a program, and I can't figure out which is what or how to get both to be the same, because on the program part, it doesn't look like you. I'm not sure how I added sources over here on the program part of the OSB. So I don't know. If you guys know, that would be awesome. Get some help. Get some help here. So we can make some floppy ass earlobes going on. And so I don't remember if I even had. I have to look at the film again. I don't think they did anything with my eyebrows, so I would still have eyebrows kind of in there. I had. It's really hard to see, but there's like a piercing right here, like in the nose, and then over here they put these kind of weird, kind of like diamond-looking tattoo things. So just make up our own. It's kind of like that. Got these teeth. The idea here is also having these teeth that's going to be like chrome. Pretending he's got like some chrome teeth. And I think if you guys missed it today, there was a live junker sale, 2 o'clock Texas time. I'm going to do it next week too, because I sold a bunch of stuff like really fast. So I'd like to do it again. People seem to like it. I drug out some stuff that was like one of a kind. I sold a crazy T-shirt that has some of my blood on it, and this devil screen print, super ancient. I don't think they're like, that's definitely the only one that has blood on it, for sure. So that got sold, and there was sold a bunch of these vintage leather jackets, and just sold like some T-shirts and some hoodies and some other stuff. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, share on Twitter. Shh, that's Bill shaking her up. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. The baby's trying to sleep. Come here. Come here. Come here. Let me just take off your collar, dude. You smell terrible. What is that? Sorry, my dog's making noise. Trying to not wake up the baby and stuff. Thanks for sharing on Twitter. I don't know anything about. I don't know how. I don't even use Twitter at all. So thanks for sharing over there. I definitely want to get more people on this page. You know, seeing everything. Yeah. Yeah, I heard Twitter's a bunch of meanies. Mean meanies. Yeah, like how did people get so messed up? That's crazy. Some of the stuff I hear about just, people talking crap all day long. I mean, don't they have jobs or anything? Okay, so you guys can see everything all right, I hope. So this is the new one I'm working on. This is, once again, this is for the contest. you can win a replica of Hugo's jacket, the jacket I made for Alita. And I've been trying to spread the word, so I appreciate it. It's good to see Alita fans starting to show up. It was a blast. It was a film that I worked on for a year and a half. If you guys want to ask me anything about the film, I'll tell you everything I know. Um, but realize I was pretty much, I was in the costume department, and that's what I did. So my time on set was pretty limited. I did help with moving the Garushka or Garishka had a super huge cape. Like in the movie, you see it and you know that it's CGI. But in real life, we also made this giant cape. So the giant cape that Garishka is wearing is tons of this old army tent material, like this heavy duty canvas. And so the costume designer, like, she was really into waxing everything. Like I turned her on to the wax. So when you guys like buy jeans or whatever and it says waxed, it's not wax. It's a chemical. I think they just call it wax, but I've tried using regular wax on jeans. It doesn't work. There's like a thing called like duck something. Oh yeah, did you? Yeah, the Alita experience. I got to see a lot of the props they were making for that. So like the way Troublemakers set up, like I have like this crazy area that I work in, but then across from me is all the prop fab people, like the guy who, they built the Damascus blade, they built the, the rocket hammer, all that stuff. So I got to see those people a bunch. So as soon as Alita ended, like those people didn't get a break. So then those people started working on all the props for the Alita experience, like right after. So no rest for those people. It was just straight on to the Alita experience stuff. So I did see some of that stuff. I did. They're the ones that actually gave me my Exploder card. So hey Mark, so if you went to the Alita experience, you could. I don't understand the game. Like you would have to explain it to me. But you do a bunch of these different tasks. Eventually, you find out I think what your skill level is, and then you get to pick a card or you win a card. But anyway, there was an Exploder card of my character, and they gave me that. They gave me one of those, so I was like really stoked. Never thought like in my life ever I would have like my own like collector's card. It's I can't. So just from being Exploder, which is a really small part, I was in Cinefx magazine, which is huge. Like I grew up like worshiping Cinefx magazine because I've always been into all that behind the scenes stuff. A lot of me starting to get interested, I think, in costume design and some of that other stuff was definitely the book. It was called The Art of Star Wars. So that came out. And then after that, it was the Alien, like, picture book that, went through the film, pretty much frame by frame. It wasn't a behind the scenes book. I think it might have been called Alien: The Visual Story, maybe. You correct me if I'm wrong, but so that and the Art of Star Wars book, I would just look at like tons and tons and tons, and I collected Star Wars cards, of course, like everyone else, and Kiss cards, of course. Oh, you have my card, you bastard. Yeah, so to actually have a card come out of myself, in a sci-fi related movie is, it's pretty unbelievable. Um, oh, the Star. Yeah, I remember the Star Wars Blueprint book as well. Um, but yeah, so I never imagined. So anyway, so this character, I like um, a lot of the cool makeup stuff, like I was talking to you guys about. I think the last time you didn't get to see. So up here on my forehead is this crazy like uh, death's head moth. I'm just gonna really lightly kind of throw that guy in here. So the death's head moth was on there. There was the nose ring. We got these weird diamonds. These were tattoos. Here's the silicone jaw. I'm kind of taking a little bit of artistic freedom here, making it a little bit different. So my jaw for this thing, for us, is going to look like this. It's a little bit different. Of course, my head's not totally smashed down and doesn't look like that either, but I think, some spit's coming out or something. This is just another idea for a head. I just think that this other head that we have here is, I don't know, it's cool. It's not great. I think this is still not even exaggerated enough, maybe. Um, and so, I don't know if we want to draw that hat coming off completely. Um, obviously I was wearing that helmet, the fighter's pilot's hat, the aviator's cap in the film. I don't know where his neck would cut off either. Since these guys, you get pulled kind of apart and put into your vehicle, when you become your moto ball persona. I mean, these guys are getting transformed. In the film, you can barely see some of the transforming that's going on. There's a book out on that. Okay, Mark. I think I have that. The Alita picture book. I don't know. Like I have an Alita film book already, but I don't know if it's maybe there is the making one is maybe more in depth. I don't really remember what the one was what it's called. So here's Exploder. And this is just another idea for a head. So we'll be able to figure out these heads, and figure out what works. What works, what doesn't work. This one's cool. I think this is like a a step in the right direction. But I think here, if we're looking at this picture, I was trying to draw like, my dude's kind of coming down a wall, so the perspective is a little weird here. Probably need to change these lines a little. So my dude would be coming down a wall, and I think he would be looking, his eye line should be like this. I think. I feel like he's coming down a wall. Alita's like going over this way. He should be looking up this way and possibly firing as well. Or he could be firing this way still. I don't know. What do you guys think? Barnes and Noble is sealed, so I can check it out. I think that's the one I have, Mark. I'm not sure. I think I opened it so fast that I don't remember even if it was sealed when I got it. So I think if we look back at the big picture again, here, I always do this, like never that satisfied with what's going on. I think I can, I'm going to see if I can zoom back. Let me launch my camera hub real fast. So fancy, like all this crap you can do now. So let me go to my camera hub. I think my camera hub is my video brightness saturation camera. It's zoomed out all the way. If you guys want to see more in the frame here, hey Dizzy B. Oh, thanks. We were just talking about heads, like trying out some different heads. I'm gonna move. This might be irritating. I'm gonna move this up. I have my cameras on a stand here. So let's. I see my preview. You guys see me in my unmentionables. All right. So how's this? All right. I think this is better. Is this all right? I just want you guys to see more of what we're talking about. I mean, I don't want to keep raising it up because it keeps showing a bunch of stuff over here, and then eventually you're going to see me sitting here, and that's not interesting. It's not interesting at all. I can't really stretch this frame out. Oh, here we go. But I'm still learning all these programs. Thanks for being patient. So I have to adjust it, and then I have to wait in the live stream, and then I have to make sure you guys can see everything in the live stream, and then I have to adjust my piece of paper again here. So I'm waiting for everything to catch up, because there's like a 8 or 9 second, 10-second delay. So we're gonna make sure that everything is looking good. Okay. All right. So here's what we had last time. So I think what I was talking about is yo, what's up, Star? So what I was talking about last time is let me look through the so I was picturing exploders coming down this way. This gun could probably be pointed down a little bit more like on this. So I might move this down and make it so like Alita flew by this way so fast. He shot this way, and then I think it'd be cool if this head we replace with, see this mean guy head here, with the mean guy head, except for the mean guy head could be looking up more. I can just scan all this stuff in the computer, and I can resize it and everything. So it'll be a little bit better. So let's kind of try that again. So if we have our new head, but we want to have the new head looking up, I think. And like I said, like in the film, like you can see him like transforming these guys. before they go and fight. I think Robert's kids, one of his kids, played. I think his name was the Paladin. You know, the first time that her and Alita and Hugo go to see Moto Ball, and you know he takes her through the back where she can see like the pro team or whatever I think they're called. You can see those guys, you know, getting transformed. I think really quickly. Let me get this is. Let me get another piece of white paper. All right. It's making me a little crazy. Hey, John. So, I was drawing on the back of a bunch of pieces of, you know, stuff that already had stuff printed on them. That's just not good for anybody to look at. That's no fun. So let me get this white sheet. I think that's going to be a little bit cooler. So, once again, I think that it's just got to be something different. It's just got to be something different, man. And I just want to try something like even more crazy, I think. So we're just trying out a bunch of these different heads, trying to get this stuff to look right, or how I want it. I want it to be even more. I think it needs to be more over the top. So we're gonna draw another exploder head and try and get this stuff right. It's just I don't think it looks mean enough still. So here's Exploder, his big crazy jaw. Ah, that's pissing me off. Let's try this. Let's try a new pencil. So you guys bear with me. That's what I do. I throw out tons of stuff. I get mad and I just keep trying to kind of sketch away on it until I think that it works. So sometimes it takes a bit. I'm just trying to get this this angle. I think you should be looking up. It would still be mean, so get the eyes. And if you guys can, keep spreading the word. I gotta get some more subscribers on here. If you're not subscribed. So better subscribe. Yeah, the struggle of just, I don't know, this guy's face is it's gonna happen in a second or two. It's just it's like getting this thing fucking mean enough. And we're changing a lot about this guy anyway. I'm trying to show you guys more stuff. So we're trying to take the aviator hat off. I'm trying to make the nose like a lot, like a lot smaller. Trying to make the mouth like a lot crazier. Hey Mitch, how are you? Way more like cartoony. I think if I just draw them straight on, like making this shit too difficult. Yeah, changing the paper seems to help a little. Whatever I can do to get this thing to work. So my idea we were talking about last time is I want them to have like silver teeth, like chrome. Chrome teeth was my idea, but they weren't ever going to see it, so there's no reason for us to do chrome teeth. In the film, it just would have been a waste of time and money. Oh, your handshake, dude. I'm sorry. My mom, who passed away, 3 or 4 years ago now. I never gave her enough credit for being like such an amazing influence. Like she was always doing art. She was like a oil painter when I was growing up, and then she was also was knitting and crocheting until she passed away. She was 88, and it didn't strike me at the time because I was too worried about a bunch of my own personal crap. But she was just like, eventually you just get so much arthritis. She wasn't able to, do what she wanted to do anymore. As far as her knitting and crocheting. And, it didn't occur to me. I don't know why. She had spent a life making stuff. She was an artist. She was driven and always making stuff. And whether that was, painting or knitting or baking or sewing curtains for the family, she was always making something. So it didn't, I didn't realize till years later, like the impact it must have on someone to be a career creator and then have your hands go bad on you. And that's it's something I've been dealing with, like just a little bit. Like on this hand, sometimes my thumb just like wants to go in. It's like a cramp, and some days it just it's a pain in the what, and then it stops, and then it's fine. So I definitely can empathize with the hand pain I'm starting to deal with, and then just really thinking about my mom's story. Like I was like, man, I was so worried about other stuff. I didn't really. It didn't really sink in until later. So if you have older parents, whatever it is that you think that you're worrying about, that's not them, just like, don't do what I did. Uh, you know, whatever I thought was more important as far as me focusing on my business and whatever else, it wasn't. It wasn't more important. And then yeah. Yeah, my mom was badass. Like I didn't even remember. I didn't even see. Like I think maybe I'm just like a dummy or something. Like I didn't. It didn't occur to me till years later that I was looking around. Obviously, you want to find your peers. You're influenced by your peers, and you're influenced by people who are famous in one way or the other. But I didn't realize like I had plenty of like constant, uh, dedicated, crazy. I was living with a crazy artist. I just didn't. It just. I don't know, man. Just never. It just never struck me. Um, yeah, until like much later, you like figure it out. You're like, shit, man. That lady was crazy. She was always doing stuff. This exploder reminds me a little bit. So this guy that I'm drawing now, I think you guys can see it. I tend to get like a little too detailed. And of course, when we do this, this guy is going to be not this detailed, um, because for our purposes or the purpose of making this T-shirt, I kind of set out to. I want to make it look like a like Missile Command or Robotron, like the sides of those video games that I remember when I was growing up. They were super neo-futuristic, um, and we're talking about a general feel. So this is what I'm talking about. So using some like lettering like this and some crazy graphics, and then when I do the breakdown on the colors and stuff for this job, it's going to be probably three colors. Like, imagine if we do a blue and then a yellow and a red, because then the yellow and the red we can mix to make orange and the flames when we do the screen printing. That's if you do the separations right. It'll turn out. You can just mix your colors. If you have to print wet on wet, and I'll most likely use water base. Ink is probably the way to go to get it to mix. But I just love these kinds of graphics. I really like. So this kind of feel, but with this piece of artwork kind of sandwiched in the middle, like for the lettering. Obviously, we're gonna. I think the Robotron lettering is pretty cool. I don't even know what you call it exactly. But this color scheme is really cool. So blue and red and yellow, and then we can make orange out of that. But the idea is that looks kind of like this, and then also that it looks kind of crappy, like like when I used to go to concerts, trap show, yeah. I in Houston, you would regularly get a bootleg T-shirt out of the parking lot. The guys selling the shit in the parking lot. If you couldn't afford the $12 like Rush shirt, you could always get the $6 one or whatever out of the parking lot, and they always like were printed like pretty bad, and that was actually kind of cool about it. I mean, I liked that it looked kind of looked crappy. The spot colors were like all wrong. People were blue, or just nonsense like that. So trying to capture some of that feel. So I think this Exploder with his beat up nose, even though this is not what my nose looks like, obviously, my nose is perfect in every way. It's not big at all. So this guy looks like a little bit more like a. Now I think he looks a little bit more like a boxer, or a little bit like the Blob. When John Byrne was drawing him, I guess. That's way back in some X-Men that were those are my favorite X-Men. The Sentinel series, all the X-Men are dead. I wasn't that much into comics till I couldn't like tell you all the plots and all that stuff because I would just buy stuff for the artwork, honestly. So I didn't have a lot of interest in in the plot, which they probably draw some, make some comic people crazy. But I grew up looking at a lot of Frazetta, a lot of heavy metal magazine, a lot of Creepy and Eerie magazine, Vampirella, Famous Monsters, and honestly, I didn't really read any of that stuff either. I think the ones that I probably read the most of would have been like heavy metal, and would have been Creepy and Eerie, because you're not going to understand like what the they all had like a Twilight Zone kind of ending. It was like Twilight Zone in magazine form, I guess. So if you didn't read the Creepy or the Eerie, you weren't going to know what was going on. That's something that I know Robert and I have in common. Rodriguez. So Rodriguez is, he and I are, I think, we're a year apart. So he's all into heavy metal magazine as well. The badass Mobius art and all that stuff. It's like when you see that stuff when you're, and I think a lot of people are convinced like their generation is the best, or growing up, for me, I grew up when I grew up in the 70s, and to me it was the best because I saw Heavy Metal magazine. I saw, at the head shop they had Heavy Metal magazine. They had a bunch of Frazetta posters with like naked girls on them and stuff. I would see like these crazy Frank Zappa posters. I remember there's a Frank Zappa poster of him like sitting on I think on a toilet. That was the first rock and roller on the toilet I ever saw. I think that's like pretty much like a go-to, right? I mean, if you're some rock dude, you better sit on a toilet for at least one of your cool shots, band shots. Get on a toilet or go by the railroad tracks, or make sure you stand in front of a distressed brick wall. Like it's one of those things. But at the time when I saw that first Frank Zappa poster, I was like just blown away. I was like, what? This guy is so weird. I mean, he has like so much hair. It was pretty crazy. And then later, much later, I discovered that, he plays music. He's not just some weird naked guy that's on a toilet that I saw at the head shop. This guy actually does stuff. I guess we can come back and add that earlobe we were talking about. And if you guys have suggestions, like this is our project, because if you're buying a raffle ticket, like this is what you're winning. So if this is if you think that this sucks, then we better fix it now. So I am drawing in like the floppy earlobe that you can't see it in the movie. I don't know what this sketch style is really called, but I like the way that this is looking. Sometimes I just do like a lot of these little scribbles back and forth, like little lightning bolts, kind of for shading. It's not anything new. I think it's maybe like Walt I think Walter Simonson. Actually, there's a really good comic, John Vona. If you don't have it, is Alien, the illustrated story. I believe it was put out by Marvel. And there's a guy, Walt Simonson, on there. Um, I'm just putting a message in because I can, I guess. Um, and that art has a little bit of this kind of thing. It's like a lively, sketchy, lightning bolty kind of thing. And it's also, I just bought another comic by this other guy. Same kind of thing. As far as the, I guess you could say Rob Liefeld or Liefeld even even does it too. Um, if you just kind of like this sketch style. It looked like it got interpreted pretty well by the inkers, from what I remember. So this is kind of an Exploder. This is Exploder. What will we call this one? Because we're gonna have to choose between these head styles. So I think this is Exploder. We'll just call this guy the. It also kind of looks like one of those guys from Judge Dredd, those cannibals, in the Sylvester Stallone version. And I think that was a guy named Chris. I don't know if it's Chris Columbus, maybe. Christopher. I don't know. The makeup artist was sick. He's like I think he was a pretty young guy. He went on to do some really crazy like prosthetics for Aphex Twins, I think. What's it called? Window Licker, I think's the name of the video. If you guys can try to help me out on that one. It's really cool just because it's prosthetics. And I believe it's called Window Licker, where they have this really weird, like, buck-toothed, red-headed guy's face that they... it's a sculpt, and then they made, like, a bunch of copies, and so they have all these girls are dancing around wearing these masks for Aphex Twin or Apex Twin. So that guy did that video. And then he did this other really disturbing video, if you can find it. It's super cool. I think it's called Chicken Johnny, I think. And it's really warped. It has a guy like kind of in a wheelchair that looks like one of the guy that in God, what was it? The remake of Hills Have Eyes. The guy that's like boom, boom, boom. The weird guy that's in the wheelchair with the giant weird head and all that stuff. So it's a guy like that. I think it's called Chicken Johnny. If you guys can look it up, it's oh man, that stuff's crazy, so crazy. Really worth checking out. So this is Exploder for tonight. I think this head's actually pretty cool. You know, we can make his veins or something in his neck, like, you know, pretty stretched out and crazy looking. You know, I'm trying to remember that I'm going to go back and simplify this, but then it, you know, also I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe we'll make it keep all the nice pencil drawing. You know, these penciled effects. But it doesn't mean that we can't come back and do crazy spot color over it, you know. So we can still do that. And like I was saying before, they kind of drew like these weird circuit boards on my face, and then put the prosthetic over them. So I'm just kind of drawing that stuff. And I have to figure out how to shade like this prosthetic, because it was I don't know, it's like a milky silicone. looking stuff. You know, and this up here was blended into my face a lot more, but I think it kind of looks cooler, like not blended so much. And then we got the nice big chin. It's got a nice schnozzerine. There's that nose ring. I almost forgot it. Then I had these weird, like diamond kind of looking tattoos. And I think that they, so if you look at the production art for Exploder, it is, it looks like this. And this was by a guy that I found on Instagram. That I guess he works for Cameron. I think he might work for Lightstorm as a production artist. And his name's Jonathan Berube. I think that's how you pronounce it. And you can see these tattoos were so cool on my neck. And so I have a bunch of tattoos, so they had to, you know, take out all my tattoos and then add these tattoos back in. This stuff is killer. I wish I would have got this tattooed on me before the other stuff. But if you can kind of see this stuff a little bit better. So, I mean, my job on Battle Angel was I spent like probably 3 or 4 months making nothing but these little strappy systems. The idea was anyone that had a prosthetic, like a cyborg arm, you know, that the cyborg arms were heavy. So you would, you know, obviously you'd need like a system of straps and stuff to kind of help you out. Because, you know, maybe when the arm is powered, you don't feel its effects. But if that thing loses power and you're just, you know, walking around with the 80 or 50 pound cyborg arm on, you know, it's just not going to, you're just not going to do it for very long. You can kind of see the death's head there. You can kind of see the diamonds. They did these pretty true. The earrings, they did pretty well in prosthetic form. And I don't know, when I saw this art, I was like, I could be this guy. And then when I found out they didn't have anyone cast, that's when I started, you know, hitting up Robert as much as I could to try and get the job. And I told this story before, but when you work in the costume department, so I work in the costume department as specialty costumer, and you would be surprised on these films that a lot of times they don't know what's going on. I mean, because the movies are so expensive that a lot of the time you got to get somebody to come in there and play a part, but you can't pay them to sit around for like a week. You can't pay to have them sitting around for even a day or two. So a lot of these people would show up the day before, and you just have to hope that you have something that fits them. So you make, you know, most stuff you make in a large, figuring that if it's, you know, worst case scenario, you're going to go, worst case scenario, you're going to end up having to go bigger, which is a real pain in the butt. Best other case scenarios is that you just have to make the garments, everything smaller, which is easier. A lot easier to do than make something bigger. So I knew that there was no actor cast, and I knew that his part was like, I don't know, I think it was about a week away, maybe. And I have Robert's I can get in contact with him. I've had his number for a really long time. He's been collecting junker jackets for a really long time, so I'm really fortunate. I don't usually talk about. Anyway, it's part of the story. So I was able to text him and just be like, "Hey, uh, I know that there's nobody, around that's supposed to do this part, um, because I'm supposed to make the costume and we don't have any measurements, because usually, they someone you want to get for the part, you're talking to their agent to try to get them for the part, and then sometimes they'll start talking to the costume department because you need to start getting all their measurements and everything together. Sometimes I know that they won't talk to you at all until the contract is totally done. So if you want to know some behind the scenes on how the whole acting stuff goes down, that's how the contracts seem to work. It's like once you want to, once you definitely sign that person up, you can start getting all the measurements. Sometimes um, someone will be cool and you'll start getting the measurements before the contract is finalized, but most of the time you're waiting. And depending on how the negotiation is going, like you're waiting, even though you have a really good idea who it is, and you think that the negotiation for the contract is probably going to be fine. You just don't ever know. So anyway, long story short, I just knew that there was not anyone for the part, so it was easy for me to just say, hey, there's no one for the part. I have the production art here. We can do all this. This is easy. I could just fit it to me. I can act. If you give me a chance, I think I can do it. And so I had to go over to him and do I went and did my little, kind of little test right in front of him. He just said, had me say lines. He's like, learn these lines, say these lines. And then he had him, I did it for him, did the lines, and he was like, yeah, that's cool, Okay, now try to do it and just bring everything down, like down more. He was saying, less is more. As far as, what I was doing is for my audition. Obviously in the film it turned out, my guy's ridiculous with the facial expressions and all that stuff. So, then more was more. So then when we got on set eventually and we're talking about what was going on, and it was a real trip. The special effects supervisor came over and showed me all the all the previs of what I needed to do and what they needed to get. So obviously all the previs is mostly stuff that I won't have anything to do with me acting, because it's Exploder flying all over the place and rolling around and doing all that other stuff. And pretty much once Weta Digital has you scanned into the computer, they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. So it's not like. So this would be the angle for the head, I think. A little bit more like this. I know it's not in scale. I think that this guy looks a bit meaner. I think that the jaw can maybe be even like more, even square, more squared off. So let's try this. You guys can tell me what you think. We got to get more people into these freaking things, though. I don't know if any of you guys are superheroes on YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out how to do the promoting, and then obviously when I try to promote, and then I can't even get the thing to work. Oh boy. It's giving me like an error sign. Can you guys see what's going on still? It's saying it's not getting the information right from the encoder now. I think it still looks alright. Okay, Rust. Hey, I appreciate it. I just got a warning sign that they were getting me, not getting the information they needed from the encoder. If you guys can see everything, then it looks like it's keeping up. So we'll just keep knocking this out. I'm liking this head a lot. You know, I gotta figure out how to do the, you know, this thing. Well, you kind of be looking at this thing doing all kinds of weird stuff. So his fighter pilot hat. Would have to, you know, be coming off, and then the obviously we would see the inside because the ear would have to be flapping up. If we can see the ear of Exploder, that means that the ear of the you know, of the aviator cap has to be flipping up out of the way for this to make sense. And so there would be something like that. I think that that's not totally right, and I actually have an aviator's hat in the garage that I'm going to bring in, I guess, next time. And we'll figure that out. But so there's that. I picture my guy probably does not have any hair. Or maybe part of a like buzz cut or something. I don't know. I think no hair is better. Like maybe just some gross ass scars and stuff. Guy's probably been put together, you know, and taken apart so many times. So here's a little, you know, maybe just some weird kind of silicone shading that you would see on his jaw. Now his jaw's, you know, kind of like a two-piece stacked thing now. Because when I looked at it, once I turned the piece of art, and I can see the art over in my monitor. I think that you know, his jaw was just looking weird. I mean, that's such a great advantage to having this camera, where I can check my art. I can also see that this ear flap is not really making sense. I would have to. I gotta figure this out. So you have a hat that's gonna have to wrap around. You have a hat, and you have a flap. Trying to think this through. It's gonna look more like this, I think. I mean, this makes me think about Mr. Robert Crumb. There's that really great documentary. If you haven't seen the Robert Crumb documentary and you're an artist, I would suggest have a look. It's pretty crazy. But I guess I'm drawing a kind of a parallel between, you know, being able to figure out how an aviator cap looks like when the ear flap flips up. I think this is pretty much it. I think this would still be down here. I can think about the stitch lines. I mean, I can picture how to make it. I can't picture how to draw it. So we have our stitch lines here. But anyway, in the Robert Crumb, video, they were talking about, he has an assistant that goes out and takes pictures for him of all the everyday garbage that you can't make up, which is just, like all the wiring on the buildings, what telephone poles look like, streets, buildings, crap like that. He was just like, he has that really super weird, that weird way of talking about stuff. He was just like, all that garbage. I mean, all that mess. You can't. It's hard to figure out. And so he has a guy that would take pictures of all those kinds of details for him. Almost, I'm having that kind of a problem here. Like, sure, but what does an aviator's hat look like when it's like flipped over? Like, why do I not somehow, know what this, should? How do I not know this? Even though I've probably made an aviator's hat before. Yeah, no excuse. I have no excuse. I could probably look at an aviator's cap right now on my cell phone and settle this shit up a little bit. So, there's a bunch of cool ones here on Google. But the ears flipped up. Who knows? So you use educated guess from what I can remember. I think the one that I wore didn't even have like this much fabric, really to flip up. But usually you have, these seams here that kind of, in order to put a hat together for the pattern pieces to work, you have to have these, you have to have these panels to go together to make it like a ball shape, or else it doesn't really work. So I know those are there. I know that there's like a kind of like a rim here. So we would have that. We know that this is blowing back, and now he's, if you picture it, I mean, I'm going to do the superimpose here, even though that even though these scales are completely off. But let's do our magical flip book together. So just so you get an idea, kind of like this. Except for picture it smaller. I think it'll work. I mean, you just got to picture that, I'm going to scale it down. I think it'll work. So then the thing that would be up here is those, he would have the goggles. So those would be up here. And I think we had talked about it last week, and there's a couple different ideas going around. The idea was, the choices were goggles, no goggles, goggles down on his face but smashed, and goggles up, which is what I'm going to do, I think. The reason being is that I think this is makes the most sense for well, to serve the purpose of the sketch that, the things that I want to try and do, which is let you guys see the exploder head and for us to have like fun with the exploder. These details that you can't see. So the only way to do that is to get as much stuff off his face as possible. So I think we've solved it a little bit with with the hat completely off. I think it's too far removed from what the character is. As soon as the hat comes off, it's I think it's getting too far one direction. I think with the goggles, the goggles can be up and it still makes a lot of sense. I think if the goggles are completely gone, it might get a little loopy as far as trying to convince your friends that this is your best rendition of Exploder, because where are the freaking goggles, man? Where are the goggles? So we have to get the goggles. And from what I remember, the goggles kind of went down like a little bit, like weird on the outsides. If you catch my meaning, they were not totally round like little things. They had some details. There was not a lot of details on them. There's definitely more detailed goggles that could have been chosen if that was what they were going for. So I think on the detail level, these guys are pretty far down there. So I can't remember what was in the middles exactly. I think that we could probably agree that these are not in the right place and too far apart, and probably the wrong size. So we got that. These would really need to be like over here more. These things don't sit that far apart. I mean, think about how far it is apart from your tear ducts to your other tear duct on your face. It's not a lot of space. And then if these goggles are big, so that means that the little nose noggin that's on there, trying to keep these things together, is just not going to be that big either. If you catch my meaning. I lost my eraser. So this is not right. Not by a long shot. I hope you guys are spreading the word about this stuff. It really helped me out. I gotta, I'm gonna keep plugging away till I have a gazillion followers, I hope, on YouTube to continue drawing, and then eventually we're gonna start doing classes on here, aging and dying, with my, just kind of ramble on about whatever I can remember, whatever stories I can tell you guys that might be interesting about, making clothes for a while. I guess 16 years I've been making clothes for bands, and then, working on films and stuff for, maybe 7 or 8, starting with I think it was like Sin City 2 was the first Robert Rodriguez cool thing that I was just like, really happy about it. Really happy. It was cool because when I worked on Sin City 2, I also drew a bunch of these gang members that in the film the whole scene is like you couldn't even tell what's going on really. I mean, it was over that fast. Basically, some biker guys show up and they get killed. Um, but I had done a bunch of really crazy looking biker gang members that I was hoping we could, do something with. What happens again, on these kinds of things is that's a small scene. Everything has to be budgeted. There's no way they're going to spend a ton of money on these guys that are just in and out of the shots like really fast. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. So a lot of those ideas, they just couldn't do them. But I have the drawings, and I thought they were really cool. And probably one of the biggest compliments I got I went to go. So I work in Texas and I work in California, and I happened to be in California, and Robert was in California because he was talking to Frank Miller, and him were having some meetings about something, just about the general whatever they were doing with the film, related to the film meetings, and we were talking about these things, these characters, and Robert was like, "Well, come by, Frank's here. You can meet Frank. Show me all the drawings that you got so far. Show me what you're thinking." So what happens is, just so you guys understand how this works, is when I met Robert, Robert deals with the same people over and over and over again. He likes to keep the same people on his crew. I think that's a really smart way to do stuff. You know. So I had to kind of like pass kind of an audition with Nina Proctor, who's the main costume designer. So when I mentioned like doing drawings and all this other stuff, it's gone through like a couple channels, like, hey, we need crazy ass gang members. Then Nina will say to me, hey, Robert wants some crazy ass gang members. I start drawing crazy gang members. I text Robert and Nina the pictures. They give me like feedback and stuff. And it kind of goes back and forth like that. At the time, I can't remember who else I was working for. I might have been working for on some Steven Tyler stuff. So I was in LA working on drawings already, and Robert was coming from Houston to meet Frank at a hotel. So I was able to go over there and meet Frank Miller. So anyway, the point being that I showed him these gang member drawings, and he just started laughing at this one drawing because the guy has a crazy giant belt buckle that says FUK stick STIK FUK STIK. It's like a giant belt buckle, like a cowboy belt buckle, and it's right above his weenus area. And I just think that he just got like a big kick out of it. So to have Frank Miller, who I consider as a master, get some enjoyment and have a good time looking at my drawing of this weirdo gang member guy is just I mean, obviously that's only going to probably happen once. Frank Miller's not going to be around for, it's not going to be around forever, unfortunately. Which actually, that makes me think about, I just vegged on his name, of course I did. This guy who's, God, he's such a master too. God, such a good artist. He did all the Frankenstein books. Man, it's killing me. This is why I need you guys on here. I need you guys to try to Google who it is. I can't. It's not Wayne Barlow. Wayne Barlow is amazing. That's an artist you guys could check out if you want. Wayne Barlow, and then there's this other guy that drew tons of comics, did a lot of concept art. He did his own book of Frankenstein drawings, and they're just mind blowing. Mind blowing. And the reason I was thinking about that guy is because I met him and I got a signed Frankenstein print, and then he died, like, a couple months later. And it's killing me. I can't remember his name right now. Pretty much every artist I know that's into monster stuff is just like, oh my god, like that guy's stuff is the best. And I can't tell you his name right now because I don't remember. It's not Wayne Barlow. God, it's killing me. All right, hold on. Let me figure it out. Let's share some knowledge with each other. So it's Frankenstein comic art. God, this guy was just a colossal. Oh my God, his art is just so good. What is his name? Yeah, Bernie. Oh my God, Bernie Wrightson. Yes, man. Thanks, dude. Yeah, so I met Bernie Wrightson like right before he passed away, and I got him. He signed one of my prints. See, look at you guys with your Googles. Yeah, yeah, Bernie Wrightson. Man, anything that guy draws is phenomenal, man. I think he did Swamp Thing for a while too. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not the biggest comic book guy, but um, I'm more like an artist, dude. I would just see art that I would like. It wouldn't mean that I was going to read the comic. In fact, most of the time I didn't read the comic at all, but I would stare at the artwork. So yeah, Bernie Wrightson. Oh boy, what a talent. And if you guys, just go look at that art, it's crazy. I mean, I don't even know if you're on here looking to hear about artists. Maybe you want to hear more about Alita. So, I mean, you can pretty much ask me anything you want. I can tell you all kinds of stuff now because the movie's done. It's out. I think the other thing I'm going to do this week, I don't think I'll get in trouble for it, but the set is still up in the back lot where I work. So that's all the city sets for Alita. It would be cool to go take a picture of Ambush Alley and some of the other stuff, and then let you guys see it. I don't know if I would be, I don't know if I would be Clintoned away, like murdered, or I don't know what would happen. I don't think that I don't think it's frowned upon at this point. I don't think I'll have a problem showing you guys the two different Edo jackets that I worked on. I think that it's probably not a problem I mean, no one said anything. I sent out a picture the other day of some details of the Hugo jacket because I actually forgot like how messed up it was. It's a lot dirtier than I thought, and it's a good thing I looked at it, or you guys would have got a Hugo replica that was not properly disgustingly dirty. And most of it was like a bunch of these airbrush colors that we found. Like they make a bunch of airbrush colors that come in transparent. So if you learn how to mix a bunch of those colors, you'll get oil. A really cool like oil-looking color. I was just trying to find the concept art here by Mr. Barubi, and I just want to try to draw these weird. there was these weird shapes on there. It was just super cool. I wish I would have had these tattoos. It looked kind of like, yeah, they're like kind of like little circuity bee nuggets. You know, bee nuggets. Um, yeah, dude, it's okay. So I'm sorry. So if you, your first comment, I have tons and tons of concept art that I would like to, probably auction away. There's two different things that's going to happen. I did get in contact with a guy in Houston, believe it or not, that um, runs these huge auctions for rock and roll memorabilia. So I think all my concept sketches for Motley Crue and Steven Tyler and Dimmu Borgir and Slipknot and all that stuff's gonna go to this guy. I think he's Dutch. I can't remember exactly, but that's just beside the point. But anyway, really cool guy. The last time he had an auction, it was just too. I was crazy. I was trying to do some jobs and stuff. I wasn't really going to be able to get all this stuff packed up and then sent to him, and then all this stuff in any kind of way that was going to be, fun or fair for him and his people. Um, Basically, I would be sending it like, I would have got there like 3 days probably before the auction, and then I guess his guys would have stayed up all night to catalog and photograph everything. And I just thought, besides the fact I was going to have to pay the FedEx bill and everything to get everything there quickly, I was just like, it is in Texas, actually. This guy's auctions are in Texas. And I believe his huge ass warehouses and stuff that he has are in Houston, which I thought was super weird. There was a girl, I can't remember her name, but when I think Paul was the bass player in Slipknot that died. She or somehow they ended up with some stuff I had made for Paul for Slipknot. So what they have to do with these auctions is they have to make sure that it's authentic. So they just looked at the label and the guy's jacket, and they gave me a call, and I was able to basically just say, yeah, what you're describing sounds like something that I made, a junker item. I don't believe that it's a fake, and I'm pretty sure I made it, and all this other stuff. And so that girl was from Houston, and I can't remember. I might have remembered out of the blue, or she came to an event in Houston. I don't remember. Anyway, we got to talking, and she gave me this guy's number, and that worked out really nicely. Or it will work out nicely eventually when I get all the stuff out there. So that would be, all the concept art that I mentioned. It would also be a bunch of there's a bunch of clothes that Steven Tyler tried on and then didn't like, so I have all that stuff. There's a copy of that Dimmu Borgir mask and helmet. There's only 2 on the planet. I've seen like tons of people try to do shitty copies of them. They always look bad. It's weird. You can find out anything you want on the internet, but no one knows that I did that mask, even though it says it like right on the freaking album. Or people are still really surprised when they find out I did the Chosen Legacy video. That was mostly because after me and those guys had a falling out. Not because of the band. I think it's because of the. I was talking about this earlier today. I think it's because of the management. But anyway, so I had done this video for them, and then they got mad. So of course, the first thing it is to take my name off the video. So it has like 5 million something views, and I'll never really get credit for it because of some stupid nonsense that could have been handled differently. I think by everybody. But it is what it is. That's a bunch of the weird business stuff that happens. As part of the reason I wanted to start working in film more is because, at least with film, on Thursday the girl walks around and she gives you your paycheck, and there's no funny business going on about getting paid or dealing with anybody. And I've been really lucky. I have some friends of mine that make clothes, and they have stories that I just can't believe. I had some run-ins with some real D-bags, like at the starting. I can't even remember the stupid stylist's name, but some dummy in New York. Had my stuff forever. Had to keep on bothering her to get it back. Keep bothering her to get it back. The time I got it back, it smelled like pee. I guess either she or her cat pissed on it. I don't really know. She was a real piece of trash work. But anyway, that was maybe the worst. That's probably that's probably the worst. The other worst is people just straight up rip off your designs. They do not care. And I think that's the thing that was kind of surprising to me. I don't know why. I guess because the way I grew up, and I grew up in Texas, and I grew up in not the fashion business at all. I didn't know anything about it, like zero, about making clothes and all that stuff, and it just happened kind of by a fluke. And then, in Texas, if someone rips you off, you just go and knock them out. I mean, you would have to challenge them to some kind of fight, or whatever. You would have a talk about it. You would, it would get kind of like addressed or whatever. And then I learned that that's not how they do that stuff in California. People rip you right off and then stare you right in the face and lie to your face, and you realize you're in a place that doesn't operate, the same as you're used to, and you learn there's a different set of rules, And the funny thing is like people would do really, really crappy stuff to each other, and then it's weird. They would let it happen, and then they didn't want to say anything bad about the person, or even just tell the truth about the person that they had been ripped off, because they were too scared about losing jobs in the future, or that person, I guess, would talk to a certain band and like, someone would say something. Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't. I heard a quote the other day that I thought was funny. Like a designer I know, she put up a meme. I can't remember it exactly, but kind of what it came down to is that. When you stand up for yourself, they're gonna call you difficult to work with, and they're gonna call you an asshole. As soon as like you stand up for yourself, I think that'd be the best way to sum up kind of the way that business seems to work in LA that I was exposed to on certain occasions. And there was a store I used to sell to, and that that lady would just straight up rip me off. Um, you know, try and nab my client. It was ridiculous. And so then she had ordered a bunch of stuff from me, and then I don't know what happened, but she just decided she just wasn't gonna pay. She was gonna just keep on fucking leading. She's gonna keep leading me on and acting ridiculous. So finally, I called her out, and I was like, "Look, you just need to pay up. You ordered all this stuff. The check is not in the mail, like you keep saying. Besides that, you rip me off on a pretty consistent basis, and usually I'm cool about it. But now that you're been leading me on about this magical check that you never sent, then yeah, fuck you. I'm calling you out." Not that they care. I mean, people who operate like that, like they don't care. It's not going to affect their psyche. They don't have a moral compass that lets them where anything inside their system would have them up at night, like worried about effing other people over. It just doesn't. I think it doesn't compute. And those people are, I guess, sociopaths or narcissists or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I pretty much just hang out by myself for the most part. I mean, I play in bands and stuff, and then you're dealing with a bunch of personalities there. But I would much rather deal with like band stuff than more Hollywood stuff. And that's not to say that Hollywood is bad. I'm just saying I would much rather deal with the bad parts of band inner workings, band interpersonality BS than I would work with the bad part of the Hollywood fashion business stuff. Because at least guys in bands are just like, I don't know what it is. Probably because I've been in bands for so long. You're just like, oh yeah, okay, you're okay, whatever, that. And just go find somebody else. And I don't know what it is. Probably, but maybe it's because I was like not familiar with it. But it's definitely much more distasteful to me than dealing with most other kinds of stuff that I could possibly think of. I'm lucky. Haven't really had like a boss in I don't know how long. Let's turn this guy around a little bit. So the goggles are totally messed up. So let's just call this messed up. See, if I probably sketched more, I wouldn't be in this predicament. But they're like in the wrong place. They're at the wrong angle and they're the wrong size. So there's that. Those things I believe are wrong with this drawing. So these should be, I think, a little more up and down. I mean, the perspective, like these are too round. This perspective should be a little more. A little more 3/4. This looks too straight on. Like it's almost a total circle. This guy's at 3/4 view, so the goggles would be more 3/4. And then this goggle just looks super weird. And this angle is also wrong. They really should be kind of like this and kind of like this. And yeah, and I think this one would actually be wrapping around this side of the I think it has to be over on this side of the head. Even though this thing is, would be shorter, it doesn't, you see what I'm saying? It just doesn't look right. So this has to be up over here. This has to be up over here. That's all stuff we can fix next week. But you can look at the head progress for for today. I think it's pretty cool. At least the face. We can deal with the rest of that garbage. Yeah, I think we can deal with the rest of that on another the next one. And I need to figure out how we can do this. Still having problems with the streaming. So just to show you, we went from this. No, let's go do this one. Went from this, which was not going to work by any stretch of the imagination, to this guy who just looked, I don't know, too static. Even if you would move his head like he's supposed to be looking in this pretend story, to this guy who I think looks the part. This would even be more like, a little more drastic, some of this like neck stuff. And then it's turned from a drawing that was supposed to probably be not that detailed for the finished piece of artwork to I can't help myself. So then once again, although not in scale at all, that's our Exploder from last week. And this guy, the eye line is wrong. And I just don't think, he just didn't look scary enough to me, or mean enough. So we went from this guy, and now we got this guy. And then these are supposed to be chrome teeth. I got to figure out how we're going to make that kind of business work. So once again, I think this is I think it's cooler. So I think that's where we're gonna stop for the night. Let's look at him like this. Look at him. Lovely. So thank you guys. Remember to spread the word. Of course, I'm going to spread this video. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications. I will try and get all this stuff running. And I'm still learning. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everyone who showed up for the junker sale today. Next week again, every day at 2 o'clock, I'm going to do like 30 minutes of just blabbing about stuff. And I'd like to move it over on the YouTube if I can figure out how to get this stuff to work correctly. And that would just be a general talk about fashion. You'd basically be probably looking at my face for most of the time. Because I'm working over in the studio in Austin. I can't show you much anything else that's around me because, because there's an NDA and you guys aren't allowed to see all the cool stuff. Not yet. So that's the plan. And that's this dude. Let's put him at another angle to take a look. So all the stuff that you can follow is you're already here. So subscribe and turn on the notifications and spread the word. Junkerdesigns.com is where you can go, and you can go under products, and the first thing you're going to see is the raffle option. You can buy a raffle ticket for $20, and that's what this is a part of. I'm drawing the Exploder t-shirt that's going to be the giveaway that everyone gets for just entering the raffle. You're going to get this custom Exploder t-shirt that I'm drawing. And the raffle will end as soon as I sell those 2,000 tickets. So keep spreading the word. There's a way we got to get up here and get some visibility in YouTube. I'm going to keep on hitting up everyone that I know on here and trying to get some little, get an interview or something. Yeah, I think that's it. I appreciate it once again. I will see you cats later.